Good evening. I'm Cindy Jarbo. Most of you hopefully know me, and I just want to welcome everybody to our very first town hall meeting. I appreciate everyone who has taken the time to join me tonight. I'm going to start by providing you a few updates on things, and then I'm hoping this will really be a town hall format and we'll get lots of questions. The first thing I wanted to update you on are some of our upcoming programs. I leave Monday for actually the Maldives. 11 of us are meeting in the Maldives and enjoying some great experiences. And before we go to the Global Network Summit in Sri Lanka. And that's going to be an amazing program. We've got over 60 people being hosted by our SILA fantastic committee. We've been invited to the presidential palace. We're going to hear from the American ambassador. Just a really wonderful experience with our members from around the world. Every one of our affiliates is going to be in Sri Lanka, in Colombo. In July, I'm pleased to report that the Cambridge program is oversold. We actually have 26 that are going to young adults who are going to be convening, thanks to Nick and Nigel, in Cambridge for a 1-week program. Sela Academy is coming up July 15th through the 25th in Kazakhstan. Several of our SIBF members are facilitating there. Thank you to Bill Starnes, as always, for getting that going and having a fantastic Master Academy. The summit will be here before we know it in Minneapolis. So please, if you have not registered, sign up for that. Our speakers are going to be wonderful. We have a few repeat speakers because they were so popular at prior summits. Band of Brothers doing a bourbon tour and a visit to Churchill Downs, I believe, in Louisville in November. You should have gotten a reminder to sign up for the National Holiday Party on December 5th in Greenville, South Carolina. Thanks to the generosity of some of our members, it's going to be free again. So please join us in Greenville, and thank you to the O'Hanlons for hosting us. We've got several webinars planned. Conversation with John Ingram on July 16th. We've already got 50 registered there. AI Part 2 was such a successful webinar that we're going to do Part 2, August 15th. So put that on your calendar. Our plan is to have a webinar with an amazing SIBF speaker each quarter. Now, several of us really enjoy going on our foreign trips, our FICs, we call them, and we've made some changes. So I want to update you on that. In 2025, we've got the Mexico City briefing, probably in early April. Stay tuned. Our actual NAMA members from Mexico City are going to be hosting and arranging a wonderful experience for us. New Zealand, in October or November, we're going to head to New Zealand. I've always wanted to go there. We moved the Norway trip, which you might have heard about, was originally planned for 25. We've moved that to 26. For a variety of reasons, Norway is very popular, and we want to ensure the best experience and the best access. And believe it or not, we just were not finding that in 25. So we're going to move that to 26 in the summer. Summit, I'm happy to say, in 25 is going to be in Naples at the Ritz, September 18th through the 21st. Brand new, renovated hotel on the beach. It's really going to be a lot of fun. Then in October of 25, our Silicon Valley Business Forum will be held in, of course, Silicon Valley. So I'm just so excited about all these programs. The staff is super busy ensuring that they're great experiences. So mark your calendars now and save those vacation days if you need them. Membership, wanted to update you. We have 37 new Direct Path members budgeted. Of that, 20 have already joined as of this month. So we've put out some announcements, and you can see on the website the interesting folks that are joining us. In addition, we have 30 NALA members who completed the program this spring and are now full SIBF members. Please continue to think of other folks. The membership committee is going to be meeting, I believe, twice before Summit this summer. So get those applications in. The NALA, I alluded to that earlier, will be in May next year. We're also looking for great candidates for the North American Leadership Alliance program. And thank you again to Bill and Jane and their team of recruiters and facilitators for making that such a strong program. At the board meeting just before the DC briefing, we talked about priorities for the rest of 2024. One of those that we decided on was local programming, membership engagement, and networking. And the state chairs are busy planning local programs, some breakfasts, some visits to local businesses, and a holiday party. We are encouraging you to participate in those and, most importantly, invite prospects to those. The global network meets regularly by phone. Mila had their academy in Saudi Arabia. I've already talked about SELA and the summit. SELA's academy will be in January of 2025 in Malaysia. We have a priority for completing our strategic planning efforts, and Cheryl and Mark are well on their way. We've done a lot of information gathering. We are taking a look at our vision and continuing by forming a task force to really step back and say, what do we want to look like in 5 to 10 years, so that we can come up with our long-term strategy. As part of that, we're going to focus on succession planning. That is a priority that I mentioned in my remarks last summit. And it's succession planning both from a staff perspective and a volunteer leadership perspective. And Nita has joined us, Nita Barkowie, former chair, has joined us as I'm not sure I'm going to get your title right, Nita, I apologize. But she will continue to chair vice president of programming, but as director of development. And I wanted to fill you in that we have engaged a development consultant that's working with Nita and Nancy and the chairs of the development committee on our efforts there, as well as Nita is also leading our efforts with respect to succession planning. So maybe reaching out to some of you along those lines. We have also recently engaged a firm to help us with communication. This town hall meeting is intended to facilitate communication. We're looking at doing newsletters and a lot of things. And so we had budgeted last year to hire some outside expertise to help with communication. We welcome your input on that front. Okay, those are kind of my updates. I'd love to get some questions. Nancy, I think you're gonna
I am indeed. Cindy, let's go back. You mentioned NALA before, and we have a question here. How many new SIBF members actually came through the NALA program in 2024?
In 24, we have 30 outstanding members. And what I love about them, because I went down for their closing party and got to meet most of them, is how accomplished they are, entrepreneurial, and very enthusiastic about getting involved with SIBF, joining committees, helping to host the Mexico City briefing. They are just very, very accomplished, and even are recommending both candidates for the NALA program for 25, but also nominating members for Direct Path.
Okay, another question relating to something you've talked about, which is the annual summit. And this person wants to know, can you tell me more about the summit? Are there still rooms left? And if not, is there an overflow hotel for us?
Okay, there are still rooms left. So, but please register soon. We are planning a really unique program, taking advantage of what Minneapolis has to offer and our members in the Minneapolis area. Shannon's been working hard, great speakers. You can see who those speakers are online, but there is definitely still room.
Okay, great. This next one deals with membership. What steps is SIBF taking to promote diversity in its membership?
We have talked in our board meetings. We have ensured that our membership, I'm sorry, let me finish the first thought. We have discussed in our board meetings the importance of diversity in our membership, and have asked board members in particular to identify potential diverse members, both age diversity, background, demographics, etc. We also, on our membership committee, have appointed new members with diverse backgrounds. because we all know that our easiest recruitment, if you will, is peer to peer. So think about who you can invite that is diverse, but has an interest in international business, international travel. And feel free to reach out to Tom Thaggart, the chair of the membership committee, if you, and especially Kathy Payne, who makes it really easy to answer questions about what is the benefits of membership in SIBF and who qualifies. You know, it's a real honor to be asked to join SIBF. Sometimes we forget that. And we consider ourselves inclusive, but also exclusive in we want people who are interested in international business, international travel, and are leaders. So if you have any questions, please let any of us know.
Okay, we're going to continue with the theme of membership here. How can I introduce a potential new member to SIBF if I don't want to just submit their name for the Kathy Payne experience on recruitment?
Okay. Yeah. So the first thing that I always do is introduce my friends to other SIBF members. For example, in Richmond, there have been a couple dinners, just, you know, 2 or 3 of us will get together, invite someone who we think meets the criteria, and talk about how much fun it is. So to me, that is step one. And then if you determine that they are interested and want to proceed, then I recommend them to chat with Kathy, and she will follow up and handle getting information for you. Just remember, they need your recommendation plus 2 other letters. And again, Kathy goes through all of that, and she can guide you through the entire process and guide the potential new member as well.
Okay. How can new members, especially those that are very busy, integrate quickly and effectively into SIBF?
Yeah, and that's a challenge for all of us because when I talk about we're all leaders and we're all very active in our communities with our businesses, it's a challenge. But I made it a priority when I joined that I knew I would get out of the organization what I put into it. So by attending and making it a priority to attend events, both on a local level, which are the easier ones to attend, but I put Summit the day I joined, I put Summit on my calendar. And same thing with the briefings. I also was recruited, drafted, to be honest, to serve on the finance committee. And that is really what kind of hooked me because I got to know more than my sponsor. And sponsors really have an obligation, and mine was great, to encourage participation and help you through your first summit, if you will, where you may not know that many people. The orientations that we now do virtually, also, we're having breakout groups where we can answer questions. But I really feel like it's you get out of it what you give in terms of time, talent, etc. So attend those local programs. On the website are the listing of the state chairs. Reach out to the state chair, ask your sponsor. We now have the capability on the website that if you happen to be traveling somewhere, you can see who's in town. And I travel through Atlanta, for example, regularly. So I will find out, who's in town and we'll meet for dinner. So that's the best way to get involved. And if a member of the board, member of the executive committee understands what you're interested in doing, maybe it's serving on the program committee, maybe it's serving on a state events committee if you don't travel that much. Please volunteer. We need volunteers, and that's the best way to get engaged.
Okay. You mentioned serving on committees. What is the time commitment for someone if they want to serve on an SIBF committee or in a leadership role?
So it depends is the short answer. For example, the finance committee meets quarterly. So it's not that great, and it is finance and audit committee meets quarterly. So it's not that great a time commitment, and it meets virtually. Most of our committees do meet virtually. And the membership committee meets more often than that, but it's easily, committee service, I think, is doable. The chair, obviously, it requires more time. Other leadership roles, ask those questions as you're investigating, and they'll give you an honest answer. Being treasurer of the organization can be very time consuming, as Francis and John for GNF know. But getting engaged in helping to plan, for example, plan a briefing. Reach out to the programming committee chair or to a staff member and say, hey, I would like to plan BOSS. Oh, I can't believe when I gave the update, I did not mention BOSS. BOSS is going to be in the Dallas-Fort Worth area next year. We're still working on timing, but that's a committee that does not require a lot of hours. And we're always looking for input there. So you can work on a project, a task force, a committee, and then work your way up to a leadership role.
Thanks. How does SIBF gather and respond to member feedback if they want to help improve the member experience?
Great question. We spent a lot of time over the last 6 months, actually more than that, 9 months, in getting feedback. It started with Danielle Crew. We engaged her as a consultant, and she sent out surveys. She actually met with a variety of our membership at Summit to try to understand what the needs were and how they varied based on age, career status, because we want to be a diverse organization that has something for everybody. And that means strong local programming for those who perhaps cannot leave their family or want to bring their family but can't travel extensively. and strong programming for retirees who can travel. So we've taken and received a lot of feedback um, as part of our strategic planning process and our development planning process. And we identified things like communication needs, funding needs, uh, and it's a work in process. We really want input. You'll see me talking to everybody I can possibly talk to at all our gatherings, and we experiment. We experiment with timing, whether it's a Wednesday through Saturday or a Friday through Sunday event, to try to meet the needs of everybody. So, did I answer that one, Nancy?
Yeah, I think so. And also, in some of the things we're doing in communicating with members starting this year and some initiatives we're working on, there will be an obvious way on the website for you to give feedback on things, or if there's something you want to know, we'll continue to do that. So you'll be able to do that through the website and the app. Cindy, there's another question here about, you mentioned the new program. So when we might have dates and other details on New Zealand and other 25 travel events. And I know that's really sort of hard for you to answer, but I can tell you that most of the programs are on the website. Because New Zealand was just recently put out. They're still working on some of the details, but as soon as those things are finalized, they will be on the website. For instance, Silicon Valley is already on there. The summit is already on there, NALA, but as soon as we have things finalized, you will see them on the website itself.
Yeah. At this point, New Zealand is October, November. And a lot of that has to do with the seasons in the country. Okay. So we don't want to go to Norway, for example, in winter. Right.
Yeah. Okay. What are we doing to ensure retention and long-term membership?
Well, a lot of things, and that's why member engagement, people who are involved stay. And that's why engagement is so important to us. We have tried a variety of things. We want to have more bonding experiences. We find those who go on the FIC trips, as an example, or attend BOSS or the Band of Brothers, are three group activities that we have found really gets commitment and increases participation, because you've got a group of close friends who you attended BOSS with, attended Band of Brothers with, or went on an FIC trip with, that keeps you want to come to summits so you can see them again. So that's one thing. Susan Simmons, who is of our new member
Onboarding.
Yes, I started to say engagement, but committee. She is evaluating and planning a experience. We used to have, you may have heard, a lot of you, about the old long trips. That required too much of a commitment. So Susan is working on a shorter 3 or 4 day, maybe long weekend, short weekend, I don't know, kind of activity for our new members to build that class camaraderie. My class, 2013, was the first class that did not do a trip. And it's really the initiatives of people like Francis Goot and Maureen Zimmerman that have kept us going, and so that we have bonded with each other anyway. But we are identifying new ways to make sure members feel welcome, get engaged. And the other thing I wanted to mention was what were a local program opportunity that involves an overnight stay. So many of our states are so large that it's hard to get everybody together for breakfast or for even for a dinner. So Virginia, for example, is planning a weekend or maybe even just a Saturday night to do wine tasting in Charlottesville. We've got a core group of members in Charlottesville, Virginia. We're going to invite our North Carolina and DC members. And, you know, if we get 20 people to come and enjoy and get to know each other, that's what I think will engage. So whether you call it a mini briefing, low staff effort, we really depend upon the state chairs to organize with help of other members. We have some incredible entrepreneurs that own wineries, frankly, or bourbon distilleries, and have some great ideas for some local programs that you can drive to and can fit into a schedule. And it may be meeting for dinner, visiting a business or winery or distillery, and hearing one speaker or no speakers. It's really the purpose is to engage our members so that we get to know each other better.
Okay, here are a few questions about our strategic course. How does SIBF current strategy align with the long-term vision?
Yeah, so when SIBF was originally started, it was to facilitate doing international business. And as Randy and others brought up in our recent, and that was our vision and our mission. Now, all of our members are already involved, in all likelihood, in business activities. So part of our strategic planning process is to look at that vision and say, what should it be in today's environment when international business is much easier to do? One of the areas that I heard when I was on the Egypt FIC in February is the interest of our MILA members in connecting more with our US members to do business, to help their children find internships in the US. I mean, just a variety of things. So networking is always going to be, and connecting people internationally is always going to be, I think, part of our vision and part of our strategy. And it's how do we do that now? How do we use technology to facilitate that? We've tried different platforms. We realize that how busy everybody is, and that relying on a platform where you've got to go and check it does not necessarily work. We've talked and continue to talk about how can we use AI. Right now I am CFO of a company that sources its natural organic raw materials from India. How can I use my SIBF connection better to do that? I'm already doing international business, but I would love to help international members of our affiliate groups with their businesses and what's the best way to do that. So I think that's going to be part of what the task force and Cheryl and Mark's strategy takes a look at as to how we focus on those types of things.
Okay. What opportunities and then what challenges do you see on the horizon?
Wow. Lots of opportunities. We implemented the shorter, when Bob Blanchard was chair, we implemented, and I think Nita, it may have overlapped with her as well, the shorter FIC. So I think trips, the 1 week trips, and they've been very popular. So I see opportunities to have more shorter trips so that they require less time and treasure. But the longer, more in-depth trips are always going to be a great opportunity. And there's so many places that are still on my bucket list and experiences that I want to have. I think technology brings, as I mentioned earlier, more opportunities for us. There are opportunities to grow our membership in areas where we don't have that many members. For example, the New York City metropolitan area, South Florida, are two areas with amazing international connections. And so that's clearly an opportunity. We are seeing challenges. With diversity comes a lot of different perspectives, and we do mirror the world as far as our beliefs, our cultures, and what we're passionate about. And so that's a challenge as to how we navigate those waters. And, we did have some resignations in our MELA group this year because our affiliates and us did not feel that it was our position and the board our mission, if you will, to take a position on political or even humanitarian issues. So that is a challenge that we continue to navigate. What is important is that we listen to each other, we get in the same room, and we talk and increase each other's understanding.
Okay, great, Cindy. We've got one more question that should get us to the end here. When it comes to SIBF, what are you most proud of? What does success look like for you?
Okay. Wow. I see success in a number of fronts in participation. The fact that our programs have been sold out. The fact that we are increasing the number of programs, the fact that they're financially strong, and people see the value in our programs. I will mention another opportunity, and that is with educational programming. We know that we want to have a good blend of in-person programs and virtual programs, and I'm proud that we are doing that. I'm proud of our data gathering and the fact that we are moving forward on some things that we've talked about for a number of years, and we're putting the resources, investing in raising money in order to continue to grow and fund our programs so that they are of a very high quality. Anything you want to add there, Nancy, as executive director?
No, I think you've hit it. I think, I see, as long as there is engagement, if we can, keep the hold of our attrition, then I consider that a success, because if people are engaged, then they're learning and they're coming back. And I just think that's really the success of things. Okay, so that was the last question we had. So I just want to say real quickly, if anyone has a question, I think we got to all of them except maybe 2 or 3. And if you want to send them to me or the staff, if it relates to something specific, or to Cindy, we'll be sure to get back to you and let you know the answer. So Cindy, when you want to wrap up?
Sure. Well, I want your feedback on whether this is a format you want us to continue. This came out of a board meeting when somebody said, hey, when we were talking about improving communication, and somebody said, hey, let's do a town hall. I want your feedback on what you thought of this town hall. I want to see you at Summit, and I want to see you at some of the local programs that we have scheduled for the rest of the summer. And I'm looking forward to seeing a group of you in Sri Lanka, in just Maldives next week and Sri Lanka the following week. So thank you so much. And if I had a glass of wine, that's the only thing I forgot to do in preparing for this, I would propose a toast to all of you and let you know how much I really appreciate your support and willingness to give of your time, talent, and treasure. Good night.